when my second son was born, I had to leave my wife and Nico at the hospital the day after he was born to go get on a plane and I had 5 states in 5 days. I had 5 keynotes in 5 days, which is, again, super grateful. I'm not complaining, but it required me being away. And that was so painful to leave them at the hospital.
I'm curious with all this integration in your family, which I'm most curious about, especially with the whole more business, more life. That's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
Was it always this way, or like when you became a dad, there was still like, was it always like this integrated, or did you have challenges where you're like, oh man, I wish I could be with my family more, but I got to do this work? Like, what I guess I'm looking for, like what it was like before, and most importantly, like what was the turning point? I know you said it was an evolution, but is there? Because what about the other parents out there that are not having the experience you're having and they don't even know where to start? Like, I guess I'm looking for like, if you could let your mind go back to like when you started to make these choices, like what was where's the first part, I guess? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Well, I think, and you and I have worked together, you've been a mentor to me and a friend and a lot of things. We've collaborated, we've, supported each other, and I've learned so much from you, bro. Just about, I would say, there's a lot of places I could go with this, but the first thing that comes to mind that I'll touch on is creating that client value journey that you talk about often, right? And really creating something, because again, my background was entertainment, keynoting, live performance, right? And that was it. And I consider that to be more of a job, a really, 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 really cool job, right?
Right.
I'm not cleaning porta potties. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it could be, there's a lot of jobs that aren't as cool as that, but that's a job. In other words, I punch in by packing up my gear, going to TSA, doing all the rigmarole, staying in hotels, which is still amazing, but that's what I get paid for, which is different than what the client pays for. And then, and it was so kind of like I would punch in and I would go do the thing versus building a client value journey, which is basically building scalable product and having more than just a keynote or just a performance or a concert or whatever. And so once I started building that and building my client value journey and building more product, more content that I could then scale, it suddenly changed everything. And then my focus wasn't on, I got to do like 50 dates this year, or I got to do whatever that number is. Because there was at one point in my life, this was before kids, that I did 407 shows in 1 year. That's a lot of shows. And in fact, when my second son was born, I had to leave my wife and Nico at the hospital the day after he was born to go get on a plane and I had 5 states in 5 days. I had 5 keynotes in 5 days, which is, again, super grateful. I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful for that job, right? To have that, but it required me being away, and that was so painful to leave them at the hospital. I didn't get to see Nico meeting Elijah, my older son. I didn't get to see them meeting for the first time. I didn't get to see Nico come home from the hospital. I didn't, there was just some special times there that I didn't get to see. And so there was definitely, when it was the one trick pony, that it required me to be away all the time. But when I actually built a business, and the cool part about building the business was as I was building more product, more scalable product, and I really started to understand the value that I was offering the world. And I got clear on that. And you know this about me, but
Right.
getting clear on what my value is has been a game, has been a psychological game. The internal dialogue has had to have been, assessed and rewritten and argued with and back and forth. And so for me to understand what value it is that I offer the world really started to show up and give me the feedback when I started creating content or product that lived outside of me. And I think it's because I could look at that product from a distance without being inside of it. I was suddenly outside of the bottle and saying, hey, here's a bottle. Would you like a bottle? And it was like I wasn't the thing in the bottle anymore. I was outside. And so I was able to see, oh, hey, actually that content's pretty cool, or actually that music is really healing, or actually, oh man, that was, you know what I mean? I could see that value. So I think that was probably one of the biggest game changing elements in my business for me.
Wow. Yeah. So just being able to, well, so for one, what I hear is building a business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so having your ability to take your value and put that into a product or service that then you can work around your life, right? So you're designing the best way to give that value to those customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, and be able to do that around your life. So
Yeah.
by doing this, you're able to design it, because there's lots of ways to give the value you give. And you've proved that because you've been on stage, you've toured, you've done all these, gigs, and you're out there and you're giving value, and that worked. But you could also give value in another way. So it's kind of what I'm hearing is like also just being willing. You were willing to pivot. You were willing to change and say,
Yep.
hey, how else can I do this and still use your great value? You didn't, because I hear people too that are artists like you. I can't tell you how many musicians I've met that are amazing. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I wish I could do that full time, but I gotta work and be home because I'm a dad now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, so, wow. And
And-
I even got tingles saying that out loud. And it really makes me sad. Like when I hear people say that, and they're very talented people. And it's like, wait a minute, that's a choice. You don't have to do
Yeah.
it that way. And so I'm picking on that one thing that you made that choice. So, and it's not always easy. I get it. Like
Yeah.
it's scary. And even you and I've talked about that. We've had fears
Yeah.
in our life, and even like moving from a gig, like even we could actually pick that, like, but you were using your talents, but there was part, I know, because we've talked about this, so maybe I'm picking on you. Hopefully you're okay. But like, there's a scary moment of like, hey, do I like not go do those speaking gigs and create this, so maybe speak to that. How did you get the courage to make this decision and say, you know what, I don't have to take that gig. I could actually work from home today.
Absolutely. The courage came from surrounding myself with the right types of people. Undeniably, like, who we surround ourselves with, we become to a degree, right?
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clear Path to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients, so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.